Hello. hello, Facebook. Hello, LinkedIn. And hello, YouTube. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. So today has been crazy. I have been trying to find business owners to come on to pitch their business, talk about business, and do a whole different type of format today because it is the last Sunday before Christmas. And so I wanted to bring on as many business owners as I could to pitch their ideas, pitch their products, pitch their services. But a lot of people today is a Christmas party America, evidently. We're the only two not at the party, Sharon. We're the only two that didn't get invited. Oh well, here we are. But hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullock. They call me the business plug. And this evening, we are doing a business conversation of sorts. I have Sharon Brewster, and if he can get back in, I'll have Charlie Bell. But we want to talk about business in general. But before we get to that, I need to do two things. If you would like to come on the Business Plugs Mixer, you are welcome. You are welcome to click the link that's in the bio. And if you are interested in learning how to create a business, then that link is also in the description of this video. So both of those links are there. If you want to reach out to Sharon, I know better. And Sharon, if it wasn't in the bio you sent me, I will add it because I did not read it. It's been crazy today. But I will go back and put the links for you to reach her. And if he comes on, I'll also add Charlie's information as well. So there we are. So now we are here. Welcome to the mixer. And it is the Sunday before Easter. It's the Sunday before Christmas. So hello, Sharon.
Hi there.
Tell us about Sharon Brewster.
Hi there. So I'm Sharon, and the name of my business is Brewster Branding. And I've been in the industry 25 years, and Brewster Branding, we're 8 years in existence. I've been full time for the last 5 years, and it's been a fantastic journey. So thank you, Linda. Thank you so much for having me on today. And everything happens for a reason. So it
It
all
does.
worked out.
It does.
So
It does. All things work together, right?
that's right, because I haven't gotten to spend a lot of time with you lately because we both been busy and our schedules just haven't been working out. So we get that time together, and then we get to share more of what we do, to
Yeah,
help our potential clients and our clients, our audience. So um,
absolutely.
yeah, so about Brewster Branding, what we do to help people. So we help people really get in front of their audience. We help business owners create a brand that resonates with potential clients by shifting their mindset and moving past what we call imposter syndrome so that it frees up more time for them to focus on doing what they love. So, more time in your business, more time with your family, more time doing hobbies instead of trying to figure out how do I handle the nuances of my website? Can I do everything myself? Can I make my own logo? Can I write all of my content from my website? Can I make my business card myself and go pick it up after, a full day of work? We like to take on those types of things for people and show them how consistency in language, consistency in brand visuals, and consistency in what we say verbally and audibly to our audience, how all that makes a difference because we want to teach people who we are, who our brand really is, and make sure that they understand and that we're communicating those points consistently. So that's what we do, and we do it in a way that's fun and it's educational, and we're modeling that behavior with clients. So a lot of times
Right.
people hear me say the same thing, and I think, well, that's a good thing. We evolve, but the message of what we do is generally the same. So that's what we do.
Absolutely. And I love that. And a lot of entrepreneurs follow me on all my channels and all my platforms. I have a whole host of entrepreneurs that are new, or existing that follow me and explain to us why it's important to create a brand just as important as you create a business.
So here's the thing. This is what's important. And in 2023, I am getting into coaching because I've also worked as a clinician. And so I'm going to take those skills and lend them in the business sense of coaching to help people understand this. You build a brand as a business, and then you build a brand as an individual. And the
Yes.
reason that that's important is there's times in our lives that our business and what we do personally are not exactly the same.
Yes.
So at some point in my life, my family owned a dry cleaners, but that doesn't resonate with who I am today.
Mm.
Although I do like having clean laundered clothes, and I do like having nice crisp collars and nice lines because that was instilled in me. But when you see me, you don't think of Shandy's Cleaners. If you do, they did a great job because my father had pens, consistent signs, all that. So he had the branding down pat before they were calling it branding. He knew there had to be something that people remembered him by. But that doesn't align with my personal brand. So my personal brand, who I am and what I believe and the mark that I hope to leave on the world and how I want my family and close friends to see me, that's a personal brand. And it doesn't, some people, for them it might embody something that's spiritual. For other people it could be, social justice. And then a lot of times it doesn't have to be this big thing like I'm going to impact 100,000 people over the next 6 months. It could
Mm.
be I'm going to get my child to school on time in the next 90 days, and that's what I want to be known for, because that is important too. that is
And that
that
is
is
super important to
that
your
is
child,
huge.
to the school, to that,
That
to
is
how your child, because that's work ethics, right?
that is multi-generational work ethic right there.
Yeah.
So, you know,
That's that's definitely important.
yeah. So and it shows consideration for others because you're teaching your child, being on time impacts other people and just the benefit of avoiding traffic as well. So, who you are, your personal brand and your business brand they don't always have to be the same thing. So I like to educate people on that. If you're an entrepreneur, it is so important to have a personal brand because your personal brand, that's where you do your speaking engagements, you write your book. Your business doesn't write a book, you write a book. You
Yes.
can mention your business, you can tag your business, you can link it together all you want. At the end of the day, you are the author of the book. You can co-write, co-author with people that work with you, but at the end of the day, somebody has to be the author, and you have to be very intentional about when you link up with other people as authors. At the end of the day, you have to have a plan, and
Yeah.
I don't discourage it and I don't encourage it. I just say have a plan with everything you do. And then your business brand, now that's okay. How do we want people to know? What do we want people to know about what we do and what are the benefits? A lot of times, businesses talk about their brand in a way that you're coming to visit them as if it's all about an open house about learning about the business instead of going to learn about the business as in terms of what the business can do for you. So it's really getting the brand awareness, right? Build your brand in a way that people can shop with you and figure out what is it that you have, that what are you offering that they need, and getting that in quickly. Oh, I see Cold Fusion fried ice cream is here.
Yes. Yes,
I'm
confusion.
excited.
We're glad you're here, Charlie. You're on mute. Hey, Charlie. We can hear
Can
you.
you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we're glad you're
Okay.
here. So yeah, Sharon and
I'm
I was having
glad
a
I'm here.
conversation, but before we go, because I have a question before we let Charlie introduce himself. Sharon, one more point I need you to weigh in on. So I have seen a lot of my new entrepreneurs have a business. They're in entrepreneurship, but then they're like, okay, but I am saved and ratchet. I cuss and I do this and I do that. So they have this whole persona, and then they have this business. So there was a question on the internet was, do you do you subscribe to brands who curse or have profanity? And my thing is, because my overall brand is, I want my brand to be family friendly, right? because I am empowered by kid entrepreneurs as much as I am adult entrepreneurs. And so I want to create a brand that is attractive regardless of the age group, right?
Hmm.
But weigh in on that for me before we let Charlie introduce himself and tell us
Okay.
about Cold Fusion.
So I will weigh in and I'll say this. We have to have an authentic brand, and there's no judgment on cussing, drinking, smoking, dancing, shouting, running down the aisle backwards. Doesn't matter to me. It really, there's no judgment there, because many people, when you start on social media, who you are the day you get on a platform isn't who you are 15 years later.
Oh,
So, so it is essential. A pro tip that I would give a client: number one, it's important to go through you need to audit your social media periodically, and anything that's not relevant to where you are right now, you should scrub it periodically. If you have things that you're particularly concerned about, it's not that you're hiding it, but you should make sure that you get rid of it if it is impacting the type of audience you're going after. If your
mm,
audience is cuss friendly and not kid friendly, then you should say, okay, well, I'm okay with having this content on here. But if you're concerned about, well, my audience is this, but my family network and my own children, maybe I don't want them to see that, then you make sure, you adjust your privacy settings accordingly. Use the professional mode that Facebook has if you're using Facebook as a platform. Look into all the other platforms and leverage the tools, and take social media classes, the advanced levels, to find out how to use those back end tools that they have to make sure that you are only speaking to certain audiences that you want to speak to. The other thing is, if you don't intend to use profanity on certain videos and you do, when you use profanity, it gets tagged and it shows up in the long you may not pay attention, but it'll indicate it in this very long URL. And so if you don't mean to do it, eventually it doesn't go in your favor. So if you're somebody that is now putting videos on your website, that could end up, not being a good thing for you and suppressing your Google status, right? So when people
mm.
search you, so everything intertwines. So whoever it is that you want to be on social media, it comes back to the effort of establishing your brand. Whoever it is you want to be, you have to put that out there. And it's okay, there's no judgment about whatever direction you want to take. You just have to do it with intention and take it by the reins and be in control of it. So if ratchet and raw and violence, if that's what you're going for, you have to take control of it, and that's it. And if you want to be, religious, holy roller, and very quiet and dignified, or loud and religious, like whatever it is, if you're just one of the extremes or somewhere in the middle, you have to own it. Because if you don't own it and you run from it and hide it and say, well, I don't know how this came up, now you're backpedaling, and then you're in crisis communication, and you don't want to leave a gap for needing to have crisis communication. You should have it in place anyway, because there's always an emergency that could take place. So you want to have you want to have crisis language on deck anyway. But be who you are, own who you are. Don't be ashamed of who you are, but periodically go back and clean out your social media. If you gained weight, lost weight, looked different, changed dramatically over a certain number of years, had kids, changed your name, got divorced, any of that, clean it up so it tells the story that you want right now to be
Currently,
told
right.
about you. And
I
that's
love
it.
that. I love that. That now that was clarity, because a lot of times, we go through iterations as people. We do. And
Yep,
so I guess what I hear you say is the more important than what you do is to make sure the projection you're putting out there is authentic.
exactly.
However you want it to be. And I think when we know who our customers are, it helps us to understand who we need to be for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for weighing in on that.
Of
I
course.
appreciate that. So Charlie, hey, we're glad you're back. How are you?
I'm all right.
So tell us about Charlie.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, what do you want to know
So we want to know about Charlie. We
about my
want to know about
business?
who you are and what your business is, and then why people should
Oh,
be trying to connect with you.
That's a lot. Let's see. Well, I mean, I came from a big family, and just like looking back on my family, I mean, a lot of people did certain things. A couple of them did things, like pastors and stuff like that. But I wanted to do my own thing. Like I wanted to be my own brand. Like I wanted to do something, but I wanted to do something different. So I started. I was trying to, well, I was growing up in the rough part of the time, so I had to make a way for myself and like that. So I mean, my dad was like, he was 70, 80 some years old, and I'm 18, 19. So I was just trying to figure it out. So I had to find that on my own, the hard way. So I went been incarcerated a couple times and stuff like that. So and I always get out and try to get a job, then it get harder and harder. So it just became to where I just like if I keep getting incarcerated, I need to learn something. Do I can even have some kind of skills to do something? So I ain't able to get no job. So I started taking up little trades and stuff like that, and taking little certain courses and classes and doing that, and did trash out, clean out, did a land. Well, I had a try to open up a landscaping company where I was cutting grass and stuff like that, and tore up all my equipment. Didn't know how to get it, had the money to get it, so I went back to the streets again. So build up on that, and then I wanted to try to do a cleaning service, so I started doing that. So it was all right, but I was doing it out of town, so I had to go out of town like Alabama and Atlanta and stuff like that. I mean, where people really didn't try to judge off your background, so I had to go with them sources. But ended up still trying to make a way. Started selling fish and stuff like that, and trying to cut out the illegal stuff and just start trying to sell fish and working little jobs and $7.25 an hour was the only job I could get was the minimum wage. So I just had to make a way for myself. So I started. I got this truck probably about 4 years ago, my ice cream truck, and started just building up on it myself. I mean, I know how to do a little electric, a little plumbing, a little construction and stuff like that. So I put the truck together myself and let it sit because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Then it was like a lot of rules and a lot of stipulations to it. A lot of more money needed to be spent that I ain't have. So I was like, to keep me from going back through my past, I just went on and got a job and stuck with that for a while for like 2 years and worked that and saved up some money. And fortunately, I had somebody, the girl that I was staying with, you probably seen her earlier. So she was, I was staying with her, but I didn't like staying with her because I got to be in the house a certain time and all that other stuff. So I had to backtrack. So I had to set my money aside so I could give me somewhere to stay instead of just, having to worry about that. So did that, then had another child. So, it just got harder and harder. So I just kept pushing and trying to just make a way through it without worrying about what's gonna come, just deal with it as it came. Just kept on going. So now got this truck up and going, and it's just been good to me.
I
I
heard
just
you.
let
I heard you. So tell us
yeah.
about cold fusion because we're not used to that. So tell us about cold fusion.
I got this ice cream. I came up with this ice cream thing where I was just uh I had to do the ingredients. I had to simplify my ingredients. I had the truck. I said I was gonna sell fish, so I was like, with that, I had to spend $5,000 on this hood system and all that stuff. So I was trying to figure out a way to get around it. So I was looking up, like I said, I just gone and sell the fish. So I started looking for a fryer, and I started online looking for a fryer, and it popped up fried ice cream machine. So I was like, what is that? So I clicked on it and started looking up on it, researching that, looking up on YouTube. I'm like, who doing this? So trying to figure it out. So then I started trying to figure out how I'm gonna get the ingredients and what they use. So it took me about 6 months to figure out the ingredients that what they would use. Because when I bought the machine, but they don't tell you what the ingredients is until you buy the machine. But I bought the machine, I never opened it. So I was just, started looking on YouTube. So I finally opened it up, trying to get some practice in and seeing what ingredients I need to make the ice cream. Because I had done took some Mayfields and melted down, trying to see if I could use that. But So I ended up finding the ingredients that I need, and it came along well where I had to go through the health department and all that stuff and get the the kitchen incubator. I mean, not the incubator kitchen. The yes, the kitchen incubator for the commissary and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
so now I'm just at a I'm still like in the in the beginning. It's all you got to figure it all out on your own. I mean, because it ain't nobody else in Chattanooga that's got a ice cream truck, or let alone a fried ice cream truck. So now I'm trying to figure out some more ways to expand and stuff like that. And then I want to be able to hire like employees like fathers and just like students and stuff like that. I mean, if you grown, you want to work, you can work for me. But I rather have like 15 and 16 years old on up like 18 and such like that. But cause it was hard for me getting a job when I was at that age and I was studying trouble. So I want to be able to give back like that with just giving it to the teens and stuff like
I
that.
love it. I love it. And fried ice cream. So you kind of fell into that idea after your fish idea. Because that's what I
Yeah,
remember. I remember the fish idea. So
yeah. When I
we
came
met.
around there,
Yeah,
right.
we met because you were taking the Launch Chattanooga's class, and I was your
Mm-hmm.
facilitator when I worked with them. And so that's where we first met. And that the fish thing, if I remember right, the fish thing was what you were in then. That and remodeling.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the things that I
Uh.
remember. But
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right. Uh huh.
so we were talking about branding. So on Cold Fusion, I know you have t-shirts, you have what else? I know you have some wear. I think I've seen a t-shirt.
Only thing right now, I got t-shirts and I got collar shirts and I got two aprons. That's it.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
got business cards stuff. I had a problem with trying to find a person to really that I could get in contact with to be able to do those things like that. I really still ain't found nobody to be able to do what I need on just the graphics and stuff like that, t-shirts, and 'cause I wanted some little hats and stuff like that. The little hats with the inside, you know how it's cut out the top, like sun visors. That's what they call.
Oh yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, but I couldn't. Yeah, yeah, I couldn't get in touch with nobody to do it. And the people who I was having do it, I guess they just so behind. They saying they so behind every time I get back in touch with them. So it just been rough on
Oh,
that
I need to
end.
I
But
need to
fars and
put you
just
in.
like, yeah,
Yeah, I need to put you in
yeah,
touch with Sabrina, my girl that does those
yeah.
those types of things. So yeah, so we're talking about if you had one thing, and both of you can answer, if you had one thing that you would tell your startup self, what would that one thing be? If you think about where you are today and you look back at your startup self, what one thing would you want to tell your startup self that would help
Do it.
them move
Just
forward
do it.
quicker? Do it.
Just got procrastinated too long. I feel like, but just go on and do it. I mean, just do it. Yeah.
Just pull the trigger.
Just go on and do it. You ain't gonna never know
Yeah,
unless you go.
I heard you. I
Yeah.
heard you. What would you think, Sharon?
Um, so I'm just really over the moon with Cold Fusions. I've already gone to the website, to Facebook. Like, so if I look like I'm like somewhere else, I'm totally, I'm
Yeah,
already
check
in.
out.
I'm like, how can they send me something? Can y'all send me something to like put in a special box so and overnight it? Because I'm in New England. It's cold up here, so it should be fine when it gets closer to me.
Mhm.
But to answer your question,
We
the thing that I
appreciate
would the thing that I would tell myself is um, don't don't take a break. And now I'm not talking about um, not taking a healthy break, like taking time off and having a reasonable work life balance, which is still elusive to most of us. Um, but when I was pregnant with my daughter, I had to take a break just for health reasons. But that break was supposed to be a few months, and it turned into 13 years. So when I run
Oh,
into people I say don't take a break, because when you take that break, technology changes, times change. You have to reinvest all over again, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of everyone, and with cold fusion, like he mentioned pivoting so many times without using that word one time, but that was masterful pivoting. And then to
Absolutely.
take on something that didn't come with
Mhm.
full instructions, my hat's off to you, because I can't put IKEA furniture together. I only buy it if somebody else put it together and prove to me that it can actually stand. So that's like that's a level of faith, really, in yourself, to say I'm going to invest in
Mhm.
something. And people say, well, I bet on me, and I do believe in that to an extent, but it's just like a whole other level when you put an investment in it and you put the work with it. So I commend you for that. Like, I just, if I could get the ice cream to
Thank
me and it wasn't melted because of the distance, I'm like, that is, I don't see that up here. And that's what I would tell myself: don't quit, because that don't take the break and don't quit. And it was for health reasons, but of course, I'm elated. I have my daughter, and I have my son now too. So kids show up on the scene, but I wish that if I could have figured out a way, if looking back, the business would have been in such a different position. We're just in such a great time now, technology wise. And I feel like people are so much more supportive of entrepreneurs than when I first got started. Before, it's like, you want a business in your house? Nobody takes that serious. Now it's like, why do you
Yeah,
want to?
now it's expected, right? Because
Yeah.
because
So
you learn, Microsoft started off Apple, Microsoft started off in
Amazon.
the garage.
Amazon started in the garage.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you learn about now things starting in garages, big businesses now. Yeah, that KFC store that's in Marietta, Georgia. That's the first one that still look like it's original with the chicken outside, right? So you you learned about how people got started from humble beginnings, and now it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. But then just understanding that those are the things that people go through to start off. So my one thing, and this is the one thing that I would tell my startup self, is have patience with yourself and have patience with the process. Like, I kept looking over, how comparison is the enemy of greatness. You hear that, right? But then all of us start our journey, our own race at our own pace. I say it all the time now, but back then I thought, well, if we start together, we should be equal, right? But our resources aren't equal,
Mhm.
our knowledge isn't equal, our businesses aren't equal, right? Because some of us have a few more years in our industry than others. Like, there are so many variables that could be different. So when you pace yourself against another person, like, you actually set yourself up to lose. And so that's the thing I would have told myself, is to have more patience with the process. With the
I love that.
process.
I'm looking for a pen because I want to write that down. When you pace yourself against another person, you set yourself up to lose.
You do. You really do. Because you're looking at what they have, but it's not apples to apples. Like, it's apples and pears or apples and bananas. It's not the same thing. So that would be the one thing that I would want to tell my startup self. And so I love that you said just do it, right? And a lot of things, I was in my 50s when I first went into entrepreneurship. And so I hear that so often. People, I started too late. I wish I'd have done it sooner. I wish I'd have jumped in. I can't tell you the number of business owners I hear to tell me that when we're in our first initial meetings. So what one powerful thing have you done that has set you ahead of the game? What one thing have you done?
The one thing that I've done is I have never stopped investing in myself. And I think that's huge, especially as a mother,
Uh-huh.
because once the kids get here, it's all about the kids. They're learning their tuition, the kids. But my kids motivated me to get my master's. I got a
Yeah,
master's once I saw the statistic that children who come from homes where there's an advanced degree tend to start out as higher end earners.
right.
That statistic alone, while I was working in a nonprofit in a cubicle, that stat was the catalyst to me enrolling in graduate school. So that's the one thing that I would say that's my one thing.
I love it. I love it. What would you think yours is, Charlie?
The one thing, I mean, the one
That-
thing I done to set myself ahead,
yes.
uh, just becoming a business owner, I guess. I mean, I could say that. I mean, far as just so I don't really worry about getting fired. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, don't I hear you? Don't I hear? We were just talking about me and my naps. We were just talking about, hey, I became an entrepreneur full time in 2019 because I got laid off for the second time in corporate America, and I was like, okay, three times will not be a charm. We're just gonna do it full time and forget it, right? And in doing so, I actually, when I caught COVID, it was good that I was working for myself, even though I was financially like but once getting there and becoming where I could heal in peace without having to worry about you got to get back to work. You gotta. That was something. That it was definitely something. I'm going to put. So we have a lot of information in our private chat. I'm going to put it in our public chat so that our people. So if you look up where it says comments, that's what we're going to put all our comments. I just put Code Fusion's website there, and I'm going to show it. There it is. So if you want Code Fusion's website, there it is. And Sharon, if you'll put your Brewster's uh, website in the comments,
I didn't I didn't
that's
ever
okay.
catch to hear what it was.
It was.
I didn't
It
ever
was.
catch to hear what it was that Sharon was doing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. Cause you, we don't have a
Yeah,
whole
I was having
conversation.
technical difficulties.
Hey, it goes with it. Let me be the first to tell you. It goes with it. So
I get used to it.
Sharon, if you'll go ahead and tell him about what you do while I take and put your comments in the main comment.
Sure, no problem. So it's good to meet you, and I do love what you do. So my focus is
Mhm.
branding, and the main service that we offer it has to do with websites, logos, helping people with their position and statement. So we help business owners really talk about their business. So our main thing is we help business owners create a brand that reaches their potential clients by shifting their mindset to move past what's called imposter syndrome. So we help people free up more time to focus on doing what they love rather than spin your wheels trying to figure out how to do everything yourself, how to make your own website, how to create your own products and not products that you are selling to people, but how to create all your own brand products. We help you do that. And then we also offer some trainings, and I'll be doing coaching next year so clients can do some things DIY, but I really want to make sure people are doing what they love. So I take the stress of making sure that the deliverables for their brand is all set. But I do like making stuff for people: logos, color schemes, websites, ads. So that's what I do. That's the core of my work.
Right. So your social media presence would be something that she would handle. And that's the thing. So what I found is here lately, I'm in touch with some really high-end business owners that have grown their business from zero to several thousand, if not $1 million, doing different things in the IT staffing sector. And what I find is a lot of them don't know about marketing, don't know about branding. Like they kind of fell into it because it's a hot industry. And even with the layoffs, even in the big, what they call it, big data, big media layoffs, whatever the name is for it, these business owners knowing and understanding like in a general sense about social media and why it's important. If COVID didn't teach us anything else, it taught us about duality in presence, right? So if you have a brick and mortar
Right.
truck like Charlie has, it's also important for you to have real estate online. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, even though I'm not nearby, I could still be a huge advocate for what he does, right?
Yeah,
Because there's somebody up here who would probably pay him, not probably, there's certainly somebody up here that says, I'll buy into that because I don't have time to, can't take a year or 2 years to figure it out. How did you do it? Come up here and
exactly.
show me. You stay
The
up here,
shortcut.
stay up here a while, and that person's like, great, thanks for helping me. And it becomes a residual income kind of thing, or it becomes like, wow, like I'm going around showing people how to build this thing, or becomes a franchise. You never know. I ran into a relative, like it was actually, I met a relative at a funeral, which unfortunately sometimes funerals become reunions
Yes,
and you
indeed.
meet people. And he was telling me about a business, and he actually had his own franchise. And because I wasn't from the area, I thought he had a franchise, like he bought a McDonald's, right? It was just maybe a restaurant I hadn't heard of. And they looking at me like, no, he has a franchise. Like he's
He is
the.
a franchise.
I thought, well, get out of here. Like I wish I'd known that a long time ago. But that's how it starts. You have a great idea and you just keep mimicking it. But I'm thinking, gee, there's nothing like that up here. So you don't have to be stuck to a region. Even with the brick and
Absolutely.
mortar, you do not. That social media becomes that much more important because there's always somebody far away, and the world gets smaller and smaller and smaller with social media. I signed up for a training, and a woman in another country that I met through social media already, by coincidence, she's going to be my coach.
See,
And I thought, now, it doesn't take too many times for me to realize I need to be doing a certain thing. So I'm like, how did you become? I'm like, did you just pick me? And in this type of thing. She said, no, I got a list and your name was on the list, and that's why I reached out to tell you and just see if it was the same person. I'm like, yeah, I don't think my name is an everyday name, but something's just aligned like that, and that just let me know I'm in this region that I'm in. She's in a whole other country, a whole other place, but that digital presence, and her research to affirm I really do want to work with her. It's huge.
and I get, so there's a trend of moving in silence, right? That's a whole vibe. Like I'm moving in silence, and I get that, but the problem is when people hear moving in silence, you can't grow a business in silence because the people who you don't know already are the ones that will help you upscale your business. And so in
Exactly.
moving in silence, I do understand practices and principles and how you operate your business, the back end, right? I
Mhm.
get that, but you still need a client facing front end that draws people to you because the law of probability says the more people know about you, the more customers you have. And
Exactly.
that's just general math. Look, I'm a math teacher, but that's just general math.
You're right about it. I
I
had
hate
to
that.
come out of that because I'm just a private person, so that's something I had to come out of. Moving in silence, and looking at. I had somebody in another state. They were copying my social media, so I would post something, and then 2 weeks later, they would take my post, and I'm starting to see other people. Just comment on how people lift content,
Yeah.
and it's just now I just see it is what it is. And so I said, you know what, I just have to move past that, and have my and this is where having your business aligned, having your business structure set up is so important. So the work that you do, Linda, the business plug, that is why having that foundation and that training and launching properly is so important, because it's when you're authentic and you're structured correctly. And if someone is like copying you, they can copy you all they want, but if you're practicing things and you're executing and you're delivering for clients, people are going to be drawn to the real brand, right? And then
Right.
the knockoff brand, the people won't be able to sustain the promises that
Absolutely.
you're copying. So I had to move past that, moving in silence. So I would encourage anyone who kind of feels like I was feeling, when you come out of that, it might take a while, especially if you feel like somebody is kind of like stalking your brand. That's when you get clarity on your message. And that's when you really have to figure out, who am I really speaking to? So when you really drill down who your audience is, that's when it gets better. And if someone copies you, I tell clients who want to come to me and they say, well, here's my competitor, I just want their whatever they're doing and just whatever. And I said, well, we don't have the numbers. We don't know what their social media numbers look like. We don't know if their follower, if they do they have real followers. How do you know they didn't buy those
Exactly.
followers?
Because you can buy followers.
Yeah, we
So
don't know if any of this is working for them. So let's build your own authentic thing, and let's start from where we're at today and move forward, because
absolutely.
I
And for
can.
me, it's quality over quantity, right?
Exactly.
It's the quality of the followers. Like I love that I attract small business owners. And so when you talk about cold fusion, you're talking about that's family friendly, right? That's family friendly. You
Hmm.
want people with kids, you want people who like ice cream, you want, knowing, being very clear on who your audience is going to help you when you're talking about getting out into social media, getting out into the world. What are some of the comments you hear on Cold Fusion, Charlie? What do they say about Cold Fusion when you go to events?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I just everybody always just say it's good, and they just enjoyed it. I mean, it's just amazing.
Right, it's an experience, right? Because, like,
Hmm.
to Sharon's point, it's not being done everywhere.
Yeah,
And so that's a
I
whole
went to
fried ice cream is a whole thing.
yeah, I went to Warner Park, and they were telling me that it was gonna be like 1,000 people there. So I was like, I ain't think I don't think I can do it. So I let him. I wasn't gonna do it. I was like, yeah, I can do that. I said, yeah, that ain't nothing. That's easy. But in my mind, I was like, what I done told these folks get over here. So I went on over there though, but it turned out good. I think I sold out around about 300. I had like 300 and some people, but I had really only prepared the way I did it. I mean, I came, I didn't do a full portion of what I was doing, but I was selling it, like instead of me selling for $8, I was selling for like $5 and was doing a half of the portion. So really, like I was making $10 off of one portion, but I got
Yeah.
for everybody to taste it. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
couldn't just
Introduction.
give it away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
worked out for me.
But yeah, and that's the thing. Like knowing, knowing that people who are out in, like, that's so Warner Park is a zoo here, it's a petting zoo. And so very kid friendly, very couples date, very family oriented, that kind of thing. And so knowing that, when you're talking about marketing, you want to make sure you're speaking in the language of those people who have kids, right? Making it fun
Mm,
and making it, because it's already different. And I always tell business owners, when they're introducing a new process to the market, there's an education part, right? Where, because people are like, what is that?
yeah,
So you have to educate
yeah,
them on, this is what it is, and you're gonna like it.
yeah. Then you gotta educate yourself too. You gotta
Absolutely.
educate yourself too. Yeah, cause I learned from that. Like the whole time I had my head down, I was making ice cream. I brought my daughter with me, but she a kid. She wanted to go over there and go swimming. So I let her go and go swimming. Like I'm gonna see if I can do it by myself. But it was just it was a lot. But I learned. Then I had made enough to where I had even went and bought a soft serve machine. So I went and bought that soft serve machine. Like I can serve however many people now. I'm ready. So I mean, it won't be the fried ice cream, but you still to get something off
It's
the
ice
truck.
cream, right? Yeah, yeah. So you're giving
Yeah,
options
yeah,
now. You're giving your
yeah.
customers options. Yeah. I
Right.
like it. I like it. And I like that you're right. You're learning. Because when you're growing a business, so
Hmm.
Sharon, how long has your business been in effect?
We started, we're actually in around our anniversary time, December 10th,
Oh,
2014. Yes, that's our date. My dad's birthday is December 9th. So I was trying to do my paperwork on that date, but it
I
went through
get
by
it.
December 10th.
I
Um,
get it. I get it.
yeah.
I did the same thing.
So, but I went full time 2017. So I really feel different from that point. But a big thing for us is um, 2017, I moved into a small office space, a shared space, like a community space. And what I learned about myself is the person I share with is a fantastic person, no problem there. She's still a big supporter. And when my sister passed away this year, she said, "Sharon, you're gonna come out of this different." And I
Mm,
promise you, I did go, through the process, still going through the process, but have
absolutely.
come out different with so many ideas and creativity. So, it was like, wow, if she hadn't been my office mate,
Mm,
and we just had that connection, even when we don't speak for months at a time, we built a bond because it was almost like living together, because you run into the person, you have absolute trust because you're sharing a space with them. But now I'm in a different space and we still stayed connected. But I love our office space, and people will tell me how they feel when they come in there. And
mm,
when I'm listening to the Cold Fusions experience and just the growth and like just the ingenuity and the ideas, like, okay, now you're offering, you got soft serve, now you got fried ice cream and soft serve, now you got growing more products that you can offer people, like there's more choices for people. I love hearing other people talk about overcoming their fears, their challenges, and growing in a situation, because it lets me know that I'm not alone as a business owner, and then we're using our real life examples. So that's helping other people that's watching, that will watch these videos, that you learn in a situation, you grow, you adapt. Like there's nothing like learning when there's 300 people in front of you.
I know.
You have to
That's
figure
not
out, like,
school.
yeah, what am I gonna do? You
Yeah.
know, to
Gonna
win
have to
in this
figure it out.
situation. But having a brick and mortar, or like having a physical space, and then having that online presence, there's nothing like it. I would just encourage anyone. Your what I was doing a workshop in the fall. What happens is your digital presence, it's like that's the like ringing a doorbell, and it's like welcoming someone into your space. And then by the time they get to your brick and mortar, if you have one, and if you don't, think about, well, what should someone expect when they speak to me on a Zoom? It's really like breadcrumbs that you're taking them through. So
Absolutely.
that's why you need to have, like, consistency along the way. So however
Absolutely.
you start off in social media, have that payoff when somebody shows up, with your brick and mortar, the colors being the same. And you have your signage, if you can have signage. Where I'm at, my contract doesn't allow for me to have signage outside, but there's a very clear sign in the hallway. I'm the first sign you see. It's very clear, but
The
I put
benefits
that,
of being a bee.
yeah. So I make it so on social media or in any digital communication, you see that and then when you arrive to the space, it all ties in. So that's a tip I would give people.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. The continuity of your brand, like being the same everywhere they see you. Like I'm the business plug in the United States, but I'm also the business plug in Africa. I'm the business plug in Barbados. I'm the business plug in London, England. I'm the business plug all over the world. That's my brand. That's who I am, right? And so I have to show up like the business plug regardless of where I am. And that's the thing when you start talking about cold fusion, you're gonna be cold fusion worldwide after this, brother.
Hey,
Yeah.
I started putting the shirt on. You called me. I was trying to load it up earlier. I said I thought we were gonna start at sale, so I was trying to get and make sure I set it up early. 'Cause I done did this like 2 times before, and every time it's something. So I was trying to get prepared for it.
But you got it together. These things always take time, and I love when I go through difficulties getting it set up because and amen. Sheena, thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining us. I love when I have difficulty setting up because that means that somebody's gonna get broke. They're gonna get a breakthrough by whatever we discuss. And so, for that reason, the things that you all are talking about, you, as Sharon said, our real life. These are real life situations, right? Where you go in and it's a learning experience, and then you learn what to do, and then you also learn what not to do, what not to do, and there's no shame in it because entrepreneurship is a learning process. And that's where I was going, Sharon, when I asked you how long you had been in business, because 8 years, right? The Sharon that shows up now is not the Sharon that showed up 8 years ago.
Not at all. Not at all. I was working a job, and it was people I was working with telling me, you really need to be doing this. And I said, I was doing this. I had a baby, and I was only supposed to work at this job for 2 days. I signed I did it was a 2 day contract. And there was a thing for a temp on the side of remember those Yellow Pages books?
Yeah,
And that was it. And I said, oh, there's a staffing group. I've never done this before. And 2 days turned into 13 years. So I would just tell someone, don't get sidetracked building somebody else's business. I feel like I learned a lot in the process, but I would work with people. Oh, you really should do this. Then they're asking me to do their work, on the side. Like, oh, I'm starting my own organization. I'm doing my own speaking engagements. And I would say I can do it, but it can't conflict with the job. But
absolutely.
I kept saying, I need to get out of this job and do the thing I'm called to really do, because I'm helping this one organization, but I really want to help a lot of people because I have a lot of ideas, and I want
Yeah.
to work with different industries versus like this one particular place, which was doing good work, but that's ultimately what I wanted to do. So
That
I
wasn't
am
your
very
calling.
different.
Right.
It is in me. Like, I could just talk to anybody and just have a brand for them by the end of the conversation. Like, I could just see it. I could see
I
the
love
logo
it.
on my head, and that's it.
I love it.
So
And so if anybody's interested, so before we close out, because I want to make sure this fits on Instagram, because it's been a great conversation. So before we close out, I want you, and I'll let you start first, Charlie. Tell us what you would like to leave the listeners with. What information would you like to leave them with? They already have your web.
it don't matter. Like, I mean, for the listeners, I mean, it don't matter. I ain't gonna say it should matter. It don't matter like where you came from. It don't matter your past. It don't matter your struggle. If you want it, it's just like Nike said, just do it.
I
You can
love
get
it.
it.
I love it. I love it. And reach out to him. If you are wanting to have a conversation with Charlie, then by all means do reach out to Charlie Bell. Is his full name. Code Fusion, and it's mycodefusion.com is his website. And so, Miss Sharon, what would your parting words be?
my parting words would be, don't stop, keep going. And I would love to work with people who are starting businesses, who have an idea for a business. I work with people who need to revamp their website. If you are in the health industry, or if you have a business and you're trying to do it all yourself, I will be offering coaching services to help people build their brand. So if you do want to still maintain that DIY, you really feel like that's part of it, I can help you with that. But my goal is to help at least 45 business owners in
I
2023.
love
And the reason why it's 45 is because I turned 45. So I really want to
it.
celebrate. Yeah, I know. I
You
don't know
went
about the
well,
45,
honey.
but but I do want to, really help at least 45 business owners, whether you're launching or an existing business. So whether it's through coaching, your website, your logo, other marketing materials, if you need a brand audit, I'm happy to help you, or just a social media audit. You can reach me at brewsterbranding.com. You can book an appointment right on the website. You can, get in touch with me. And Linda, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that I met Charlie. I don't know how I'm going to get my fried ice cream, but I might have to
Yeah, come
find
share
somebody
with me.
with the truck and see if you can train them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have to get him set up to do his first franchise, right? To do his
Listen,
first franchise.
I'm rooting for it because
Absolutely. We were talking about before we started. We Sharon and I was talking about exit strategies, right? And franchising is an exit strategy. Franchising is a way to expand. Like you don't have to do all the work yourself. What if you could have somewhere written in a manual everything that you've went through to get your business to today, and you sell that manual, and then you get royalties in. I don't know if it's called royalties or what it's called, but you get a payment every month that a company is using your brand, your product, your processes, just like McDonald's, right? McDonald's,
Yeah.
people talk about McDonald's being a restaurant, but what they are number one in real estate. McDonald's
Mhm.
properties makes a lot more than McDonald's hamburgers. So you think about that, another way of making money. I love giving people new ideas. And she says, Sheena says, thank you, King and Queens. Very motivating, inspiring, and informative. That's what we come to do every week here on the Business Plugs Mixer. My name is Linda Murray Bullitt. They call me the Business Plug. And this evening, I have introduced you to Brewster's branding and Cold Fusion fried ice cream. Go ahead and click in the links to connect with them online and start the conversation. They can give you some clues about what we talked about this evening or any questions that you have for them directly. I'll see you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, here on the Business Plugs Mixer. Have a great evening, everyone.